Shalom to the nation of Israel. First and foremost, before I get into my lesson, I want to start off by giving all praises unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah HaKodash. Secondly, double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders, a great millstone that teach and that rule well today. And peace and salutation also to the fellow laborers that's in the ministry and the believers that scatter worldwide in all truth and sincerity, day in and day out. I'm the brother Shaquat Gabar coming at you with another quick lesson. And right before I get into this lesson, this message or these videos goes out to you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, which we are the true biblical Hebrew Israelites according to the Bible. And also to the Israelite foreigners that scattered amongst the heathen nations and that may take on a physical appearance or look of another nation. But if your bloodline goes back to Negro, Latino, or Native American descent by the seed of your father, you're considered an Israelite as well. Shalom. So basically this video or this lesson is going to be a chapter breakdown, okay, when it comes to Isaiah chapter 14, okay, and just going through, this chapter, basically going into the coming downfall of the biblical Edomites, the so-called white race that's in power today. Okay, mainly start with these elites, which call themselves, the central bankers, okay, or the elites that's in power. And we know that it's prophesied according to the scriptures that this place, okay, starting with, this place America, that they are heavily controlled, okay, is on the verge of its decline, okay, collapse, okay, ultimately this place leading to destruction, which this place America, which is known as Babylon the Great, is going to be destroyed, okay, by the way of thermonuclear fire at the peak of the Third World War, and also during the time of who the world called Christ, Yahweh Shai, Hamashiach, second coming by the way of the chariots, okay, what the world called UFOs, which are the vehicles of the angels and the salvation of the nation of Israel, starting with the elect, okay, which the elect will consider the 144,000 and the 1/3 is destined to be saved. Because at this time, 2/3 of so-called Negro, Latino, Native Americans going to be cut off and judged according to Zechariah chapter 13, verse 8, when it comes to the non-believers of our people, okay, the wicked of our people, okay, as our people, known to follow these false gods, idol worship, going after the hedonistic customs, okay. But now ain't going to be no excuse because Yahweh Shai Shai have raised up the prophets, okay, the elect prophets, to go out there and teach and give them that forewarning, okay, when it comes to repentance, okay. But we see more and more us that's in the faith or that's, measuring the times and paying attention, okay, when it comes to the scriptures, majority of our people is destined to be destroyed, man, okay. And they're going to have to come back in the kingdom, being the sons and daughters of the elect, okay, which is reincarnation, okay, because salvation is only for the nation of Israel at this time as well, okay, the elect, I say, okay, the 144,000 and 1/3, because of these heathen nations, starting with the Edomites, okay, the so-called white race, on down to the average nation outside of Israel, okay, they're heathens, and eventually they're going to go into captivity once Yahweh Shai established the kingdom of Israel, okay, when it comes to the true biblical Hebrew Israelites, okay. But these heathen nations are going to go into captivity, okay, especially starting with the elites, because they're going to be the ones that's going to escape the damnation of the missiles as they're going to be in their retreats, okay, just to be reserved for captivity, okay, once Yahweh Shai bring the elect back down here on the earth, the rule from out of the chariots, okay, and that's going to be by default Yahweh Shai kingdom and also the kingdom of Israel, okay. Like I said, I just wanted to get into Isaiah chapter 14, quick chapter breakdown, and that'll be the lesson, and I hope that this lesson is edifying. So let me go ahead and start off. Isaiah chapter 14, verse 1. For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel. Okay, only Israel. Okay, once again, Negroes, Latinos, and Native American descent out of that bloodline by the seed of your father. Because you got Israelites scattered amongst all nations, okay, due to the curses in Deuteronomy chapter 28, verses 15 through 68, okay? And right at this time, okay, we in various captivities throughout different, lands as we've been scattered under the heathen nations, okay? Mainly this place America, okay? But due to us scattered amongst the heathen nations, of course, you have the Israelite men that have, laid, okay, with the heathen women and having children or sons and daughters from them that may come out looking like the mother or the heathen nations, but their seed is of Israel, okay? And that's where we get the concept of the Israelite foreigners or the speckled birds, okay, or confused faces, okay? Which the word confused face, as we use it, going into, you're gonna have jakes looking like other nations, okay? But the confused faces represent really Israelites at a low state, okay? But the speckled bird going into how we are scattered amongst the heathen nations, and you're gonna have Israelites looking like other nations. But those that's of the elect that come into the fold and come into the truth, okay, through the Spirit, okay, which make them Israelites, because salvation is only for Israel, okay. When it comes to the elect, they're gonna be delivered or saved. So it says, for the Lord will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel, okay. So only Israel gonna be saved, okay, starting with the elect, and set them in their own land, okay. That's gonna take place when Yahweh shall return with the hosts of angels, okay, when according to Matthew the 24th chapter, verses 29 through 31, okay, how the Lord gonna gather his elect from the four corners of the earth, okay, when it comes to the scattering of the nation of Israel, okay, or the elect, the Lord is going to deliver the elect by the way of the chariots, okay, especially out of this place, America, because simultaneously, while those missiles going to be launched at the peak of the Third World War, and Yahweh Shai bringing war with the chariots, okay, when it comes to the so-called UFOs, Yahweh Shai is only going to deliver a remnant, okay, once again, which is another way of saying the elect, okay, from out of here in America, and where the elect is scattered worldwide. And it says, and then we're going to be set in our own land, okay, the land of Israel, which, by the way, that land going to be destroyed by missiles at the peak of the Third World War, okay, due to the fact that the people that's over there right now, okay, are not the original inheritors when it comes to the phonies, Esau, Edom, or Amalek, okay, chiefly, okay, Amalek, the grandson of Esau, okay, they're chiefly ruling today when it comes to those small hats, man, okay, and that land gonna be cleansed just for it to be rightful on again and built up by these heathen nations under our rulership, okay, under the power of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. And it says, and that's when we're gonna be in our land, okay, when Yahweh Shai return to deliver the elect and set up the kingdom. And it says, and the stranger shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. Okay, a lot of people, especially these Christians that, trying to save all Israel or save all nations, okay? Okay, or all Israel can be saved. Okay, and they come across this word stranger there, okay? And they'll think it is the heathen nations that can be saved. Okay, but that word stranger going to Israelite foreigners. Matter of fact, let's go ahead and get into because I got the blue letter queued up. Give me a minute. Get this off my phone. Okay, so I got the blue letter queued up. Okay, and the blue letter going to, going into the more understanding of the definitions. Okay, when it comes to the Bible, because we know, even though we read the King James version mainly, okay, but we know that the King James version was translated, okay, out of the Hebrew, Greek, and Latin, okay, and that's why we use the tool of the blue letter to go into the deeper understanding of words, okay. So let's go ahead and get this word, stranger, in the Hebrew. Let's see what it say. And it says what? Gar. Okay. Let me see.
Strong's H 1616. Guard. Guard.
Okay, so that's
And the form just below that, Gair. Gair.
Okay, so Gar, okay, in the Hebrew, and they see the strong definition, okay, and it says from a popular, a guest, by implication, a foreigner, an alien, sojourn, stranger, okay, because like I see, you had Israelites, as now all us are in the form of Gentiles, which the word Gentile means stranger, okay, or Gar, okay, but you got two different type of Gentiles. You got Israelite foreigners, or those Israelites that lost their true heritage or their custom, knowing they Israel or their true identity. Okay, when it comes to the Bible. Okay, now that we go into these false identities, Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Okay, but now, and when it comes to these heathen nations, okay, all these Israelites, they look like heathen nations. Okay, so now we're in the when it comes to the form of Israelite foreigners, okay, because the word stranger or Gar means stranger, okay, or foreigner. Now let's get this definition. And it says sojourner or temporary inhabitants, a newcomer lacking inherited rights. Yeah, because you had Israelites that fell away from their inheritance. Okay, they they all us did. Okay, Jeremiah, chapter 17, verse 4. Thou shalt discontinue from thy inheritance. Okay, as knowing us that we were Israelites, being put on these curses, being subject on our enemies. Okay, Esau, Edom, and these heathens. Okay, mainly Esau, Edom, through this system. Okay, giving us these false identities. But now we come back to our true nationality. Okay, and it's determined by the seed of your father. Because only Israel is going to be sojourn. Okay, when it comes to the kingdom as a whole. Okay, it ain't gonna be no heathen nations, man. Okay, that's gonna be part of our kingdom when it comes to rulership. Like I said, they're gonna be servants, slaves. Okay, starting with the biblical Edomites. It says definition number 2, and it says of foreigners in Israel through conceived rights. Yeah, so when it comes to Israel, okay, because the law, statutes, commandments, okay, the covenants were only given to Israel. The promises were only given to Israel. Okay, Romans the 9th chapter going to that. Okay, but when it comes to the covenants, the old and the new, it's only for Israel. Okay, the law, statutes, commandments was only given to us. Okay, that separate us from these other nations, man. Okay, like I said, one point in time, okay, you had Israelites that discontinued from their inheritance and went into heathenistic customs, but that was, eventually was brought back to the faith, especially during the time of Yahushua and the 12 apostles and the believers back then. Okay, including Paul. Okay, that was set up to be a minister to the Israelite foreigners that were scattered amongst the Greco-Roman Empire. Okay, they were Israelites, but fell into the ways or went into the ways of the Greeks and the Romans. Okay, just as you have here today. Okay, as a whole, the nations, one part of time we discontinue from our inheritance, but now we're in that great awakening, coming back to our true inheritance, knowing that we're Israelites and knowing about the law, statutes, commandments, and the covenants when it comes to the promise. Okay, so going into that word, they're going into an Israelite foreigner. Okay, Gar. Okay, or Gershom. Okay, but Isaiah chapter 14, verse 1. And for the Lord will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land, and the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. Okay, those are the Israelites that's come back into the truth. Okay, cleaning unto this word by the way of the ministry that Yahweh shall set up through the prophets. Okay, and the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids. Okay, in this case, verse 2 going into the heathen nations becoming our servants. Okay, because they're going into captivity. Okay, Revelation chapter 13, verse 9. Okay, Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 16 and 17. Okay, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land for the Lord, the land of the Lord for service and handmaids. And they shall take them captives who captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. Start with the biblical Edomites, man. Okay, the heathen nations. Okay, that's going to go into captivity. And it says, thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon, and say how the oppressor cease. The golden, verse 3. And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall give thee rest from thy sorrow, and that's the kingdom. Okay, because this place, America, is not our rest, and where we're scattered amongst the heathen nations. Okay, Micah 2 and 10. Okay, and now, quoting scriptures, because I don't want to make this video too long. Okay, because, it's already, pretty, in depth, the chapter. Okay, when it comes to Isaiah chapter 14. So I just, quoting scriptures. Okay, and, the spirit, those that are listening, and the Lord gonna give them the guidance, to check out those scriptures that I'm quoting. Okay, as the scripture says, making a quick understanding. Okay, when it comes to this word. Verse 3, and it shall come to pass, and that's only for the elect. Okay, the hopeful elect that we strive to be part of. Okay, us that has been called and hopefully be chosen. Okay, and it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall give thee rest from thy sorrow. Because like I say, Micah 2 and 10, this place America, start with this place America is not our rest. Okay, this place is our captivity. And from the fear and from the hard bondage wherein thou was made to serve. Okay, verse 4. That thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon, and at this time going to Esau, Edom ruling. Okay, primarily over here in America. Okay, like I said earlier, because this place America is known as Babylon the Great in the scriptures. Because you ain't going to see the vocabulary word or the actual terminology word America in the scriptures. It's codified or symbolic under different ancient empires. Okay, and Babylon, okay, being one. Okay, which the word Babylon means confusion. Okay, in the Hebrew, Baal. Okay, confusion. And that's what you have here in this place America. Okay, and it says, thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon, which represents Esau, Edom power structure here in America, and say, how have the oppressor ceased? The golden city ceased. Okay, and America is known as the golden city. Okay, Jeremiah chapter 51, verse 7. Okay, and 8. And it says, the Lord had broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. And at this time going into the economy. Okay, how this place is on the verge of its downfall. Okay, financially. Okay, the infrastructure. Okay, the morals of the people. Okay, the exposure of Esau, Edom, and their agenda when it comes to the NWO they trying to establish. Okay, all that's been exposed now. Okay, as we're on the verge of this place, America, destruction. Okay, and right before this place be destroyed by missiles, and this place about to, like I said, witness a financial crash leading to civil unrest. Okay, anarchy, martial law, detention centers, strict legislations. Okay, famine, pestilence. Okay, and the key prophecy or end time prophecy was about to be implemented is the RFID microchip, which is known as the mark of the beast. Revelation chapter 13, verse 16, that's going to replace the physical dollar as these elites ready to move forward with their NWO, with a digital currency, okay, leading to, a cashless society. Okay, and we always get that warning when it comes to mainly the men of Great Millstone, okay, and the brother on down. Okay, those that's out there truly teaching, giving that warning to you Negro, Latino, Native Americans, not to take that RFID micro once it presented, because according to Revelation chapter 14, verse 9, those that take it, they're going to be destroyed by the way of the missiles and the fire that's going to come from the chariots. Okay, so it's continuing on. The Lord had broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers, especially when Yahweh shall return. Because when Yahweh shall return, that's it for all these heathen nations rulership. Okay, start with the Edomites and the rest of these heathen nations that's in power. Okay, as the the Russians. Okay, which they're Edomites. Okay, NATO, the EU, which they're Edomites. Okay, America. Okay, and then you have which of course Edomites. Okay, but then you have the Chinese. Okay, which go back to Moab. The Japanese go back to Ammon. Okay, Ishmael. Okay, when it comes to the Arabs. Okay, them Arab countries. Okay, Iran and India. Okay, when it comes to Elam. Okay, then you had the North Korea, which they Moabites. Okay, the Africans, the original Africans, which are Hamites. Okay, to sum it all up, all these nations going into captivity. They the sons of Japhet. When it comes to the Hawaiians, the Samoans. Okay, over there in Vietnam, the Philippines. Okay, when it comes to the heathens over there. Cause like I said, you got Israelites scattered amongst them. But the original heathens that I just named, all of them are going into captivity once Yahushua return and establish the kingdom of Israel. Okay? Once again, if your bloodline doesn't go back to Negro, Latino, or Native American descent, they're going into captivity. Okay? When it comes to these heathens. Okay? If their bloodline doesn't go back to their seed of their father, okay, being Israelites. And it says, verse 6, who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke, he that ruled the nations in anger is prosecuted and none hinder. Yeah, that's going to Esau, Edom. Because now these other nations are coming against Edom, especially this place America. Okay, that's why you're seeing the brewing of the Third World War. Okay, nations ditching the American dollar. Okay, ready to come against this place, man. Okay, the exposure, okay, of America. Okay, the history. Okay, the wickedness that this place upholding now. They look at how America through Trump putting all these tariffs and sanctions on these other countries. Okay, leading to their country declining. So they're leading to more and more of these countries ready to come against America. Okay, financially, the trade wars, soon to be they got these proxy wars, convenience wars, the Third World War. Okay. Yeah, because the nations are angry. Verse 7. And it says, verse 6, he smote the people in wrath with a continuous stroke. He that ruled the nations in anger is persecuted and none hinder. Because eventually also Yahushua has come back to take Esau Edom out of power. Okay. Which Esau Edom is the wicked, okay, of the earth, man. Okay. That's corrupt everything. Okay. And look at how corrupt the workings of the world is, or the earth is under Esau Edom. Okay, you got GMO food, the air is polluted, the water is tainted or polluted, toxin. Okay, people more and more divided. You got war. Okay, you got destroying the earth. Okay. As it says in Isaiah chapter 24, verse 4. Okay, the earth is defiled under the inhabitants thereof. Okay, and that's why you're seeing more and more people upset. Okay, especially when it comes to you Edomites. Okay, and you small hats, man. Okay, they even divided amongst themselves. Okay, these Edomites. Okay, division. Okay, civil war. Okay, civil unrest. And it says, the whole earth is at rest and quiet. They break forth into singing. Yeah, this is going into when Yahushua take Esau Edom out of power. Okay, and these heathen nations, but mainly Edom. Okay, and when it comes to the elect ruling, okay, when it comes to the nation of Israel, okay, that's when the earth going to be rejuvenated. Okay, or rejoice. Okay, when the animals. Okay, because Esau Edom don't bring the state of the animals kingdom to damn near extinction, man. Okay, the sea life. Okay, and so when it comes to Yahushua returning, establish the kingdom of Israel, everything is going to go back into its proper order in righteousness and being fruitful and multiplying and rejoicing. Okay, Yeah, even though when these heathen nations gonna be up under our thumb, okay, we're gonna have a rule of thumb over them, okay, but they're gonna rejoice, okay, cause our kingdom's gonna be governed by the law, statutes, commandments, and righteousness, okay, and even though they're gonna catch punishment for what they done unto us, okay, but they ain't gonna be a corrupt captivity. How Esau, Edom is oppressing the nations, man. Okay, and our kingdom gonna be ruled with authority and righteousness. Okay, and the earth gonna be rejuvenated. Verse 8: Yea, the fig tree rejoice at thee, and the cinders of Lebanon, saying, Since thou art laid down, no fellow is come up against us. Okay, you got the fellow represent a lumberjack today. Okay, or deforestation. Okay, Esau, you done cut down all these trees. Okay, certain places. Okay, like how he destroying the Amazon. Okay, cutting down trees. Okay, bulldozing trees. Okay, you got the oil companies fracking the earth. Okay, which the oil is like the blood of the earth. Okay, and that's why now you're seeing a lot of these natural disasters. Okay, earthquakes, hurricanes, tsunamis, because that's the earth fighting back. Okay, against Esau, corruption, man. Okay, but within the kingdom, the earth gonna be at rest, at quiet. Then they're gonna multiply, be fruitful and multiply. Okay, it's gonna be plenished. Okay, I guess that's the word. Due to us in rulership and Esau, Edom, and these heathens. Okay, being taken out of power, man, from their corrupt rulership. Okay, the food, everything's gonna go back into natural foods. Okay, the air gonna be cleansed. Okay, one thing about the missiles, okay, which we know fire is a cleaning agent. It's gonna help cleanse the earth. Okay, purify the earth, man. Okay, rejuvenate the earth. And it says, continue on, hell from beneath is moved from thee to meet thee at thy coming. Okay, and hell represents a low conditioning, a low state, okay, or difficulty, okay, or death, okay, because, contrary to popular belief when it comes to these Christians and what we've been taught in the world, okay, which is a Roman Cathologist, okay, Roman Cathologist doctrine, okay, when it comes to hell, they teach that hell is a place where eternal fire and people that do wicked their whole life and don't accept who the world called Christ, they die and they go to hell and burn forever. Okay, now that's false, man. Okay, there's no such place called a physical place, hell, where people burn forever. Okay, hell just simply means grave. Okay, death, low condition or low state. Okay, difficulty. Okay, and that's what you're starting to see now with Esau, Edom being exposed. Okay, cause all like I said, cause when it comes to death, all live unto the Heavenly Father. Okay, you go to the spiritual realm. It doesn't matter what nation you is, or you come back in your lot when it comes to reincarnation. Okay, which the word reincarnation means back in the flesh. Okay, the flesh dies, then your spirit goes to the spiritual realm, and eventually, okay, every third or fourth generation, okay, from 75 years to 100 years, you being born back here on the earth again. Okay, which is reincarnation. Okay, and you come back as your whatever nationality you were in your past life. Okay, and it says, hell from beneath is moved from thee to meet thee at thy coming. Okay, it going into Esau, about to be being more and more exposed, and the nations coming against Esau, Edom. Okay, it stir up the dead for thee. Yeah, the dead represent these heathen nations. Okay, outside of Israel. What made them dead? Because they don't have the law. They wasn't given the law, statutes, and commandments. Okay, which is true, which is life. Okay, when it comes to the Israelites. Okay, once again, what separate us from these heathen nations? Okay, because these heathen nations, the Lord look at them as insignificant. Okay, because all actuality, they was created to be our servants, man. Okay, But at this time they over us due to the punishment. Okay, the curses the Lord put upon us for us going off as a nation. Okay, when it comes to Israel. And it says, it stir up the dead for thee, even all the chief ones of the earth. Yeah, like I say, now these heathen nations ready to go to war against each other. Okay, especially when it comes to the Edomites. Okay, and these heathen nations ready to come against America. Okay, like I said, these Edomite, like Russia, okay, and EU, NATO being divided, ready to come against America. Okay, which they are allies. Okay, so yeah, you got these other nations, as I mentioned earlier, China, Japan, okay, the Arab nations, ready to come against America and ready to come against the state of Israel. Okay, and it says, it stir up the dead for thee, even all the chief ones of the earth. He hath raised up from their thrones all the kings of the nations. And it says, and they shall speak and say unto thee, how thou art also become weak as we. Yeah, because now, okay, the nations had nuclear capability. Okay, starting with Russia. Okay, China. Okay, Iran, North Korea. Because one part of the time, these nations ain't had that, advanced technology, such as, America. Okay, but now it's a even playing field, or even these nations stronger than American military now. Okay, when it comes to their nuclear arsenal. Okay, and when it comes to American economy, it's declining. Okay, as well. And the morals of the people, the state of the nations over here in America. And it says, art thou become like unto us? Thy prompt is brought down to the grave. The noise of the vows, the prompt going to the pride of America. Okay, is falling when it comes to the morals of these people, man. Okay, it coming down more and more to the condition of a low state. Yeah, this place is facing more and more poverty, homeless, job losses, the coming of food shortages, more pestilence, the morals of the people, okay, going down, okay, the murder rate, the crime rates, okay, this place ain't prompt how it used to be, okay, and it said the noise of the vows, yeah, the music, the entertainment, everything is waxing worse and worse, declining, okay, and it says the worm is spread under thee, and the worms covered thee, okay, going into corrosion, okay, going to the infrastructure of America system when it comes to the bridges, the roads, the buildings, okay, the housings, okay, everything is being more corrosion when it comes to the infrastructure, okay. The sign of this kingdom is losing its power. Okay, like I said, homeless, and you got tent cities, okay. Let's look at that word worm there. Look that word up, worm. And all throughout America, is this infrastructure is falling. Okay, the bridges collapsing, buildings, okay, the roads, okay. Like at one point in time, because America now, is already in debt, okay, but they're not taking that money, their own money, or the citizens' tax-paying money, building up America. Okay, now they're putting towards, when it comes to this government, more and more to aiding in war. Okay, when it comes to the military. Okay, and that what Rome had a problem with. Okay, because this place also is known as spiritual Rome. Okay, or known as ancient Rome, the second leg of Rome. Okay, America. Okay, Rome had a problem. Their infrastructure went down. Their military was spread thin. Okay, because they were so busy on the offense, fighting in wars. Okay, when it comes to Kingdom Rome, ancient Rome, it collapsed. Okay, the denaro, the money system back then, became to a point of declining. Okay, just as America money system. Okay, but let's get the word worm there.
Strong's H 8438. Tolah, Tolah, and second entry, Toleah, Toleah, and third entry, Tolaath, Tolaath.
Okay, Tolah, Tolah. So they see this definitions or the meaning, and it says a famine, it says a maggot, in case specifical, often with ellipsis. Let me see, a grub, the crimson grub, but used only in the connection of the color from it. Let me see, crimson and scarlet. Yeah, America also known as the place of crimson and scarlet. Crimson means red, okay, which is Esau, Edom. The word Edom, Adawan, okay, Adawan means red, okay, because they blood show forth through their skin, okay, they translucent, okay. That's why we say so-called white people, but Edom means red, okay, and scarlet represent could represent what purple, okay, which represent purple represent rulership, and right now we're in the time of Esau Edom rulership, okay. That's on the decline. But let's get another definition. Let's see. It says scarlet, stuff, crimson, or female Caucus. Let me see. Worm, maggot. Okay. Yeah, basically, like I say, corrosion. Okay. Cause worm known to corrode things. That's just in case of let me see how I can say it. A body that's corrosion. Okay. Okay. After the spirit on leaving, and I was trying to keep it like that. Okay. Once the body break down back into the grave, okay, with the maggots, the worm, okay, feed off of it. Okay, they're gonna break it back down to the earth. Okay, which means corrosion. Okay. That's how this place going down, man. Okay, when it comes to the infrastructure. Okay. And the power structure. Let me see. Now let's get this word worm right here. Cause it's a different meaning or a different pronunciation.
Strong's H 7415. Remah.
Okay, Ramah. Okay. Ramah in the sense of breeding, maggot, literally, or figuratively, worm. Okay. And here we go. Maggot, worm as a cause and sign of decay. Okay, that's the one I wanted to get. Okay, that's why it's so important to read these words in the blue letter. Okay, we got two different meanings of the word worm in this verse here. Okay, this one, Ramah, meaning decay. Okay. And the other one, okay, going into Tolah, okay, going into what? It's power. They losing their power. Okay. So that's it on that. I'm gonna go ahead and finish, because I didn't want to make this video too long. And I hope that is edifying. Isaiah chapter 14, verse 11. The pomp is brought down to the grave, the noise of thy vows, the worm is spread under thee, and the worms cover thee. Okay, the corrosion or decay of this place in America. Okay. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which did weaken the nations? Okay, and I gotta go into this verse. Okay, because when it comes to Lucifer, okay, most of these Christians are believers of the world. They think that this word Lucifer means Satan himself. Okay. Thinking that we got the whole false doctrine of Satan being kicked out of heaven. Okay, he took some angels with him, fallen angels here on the earth. Okay, nah, that's false, man. Okay, Satan is a spiritual demon. on the left hand side, okay, that represent Yahweh Shem Yahushua will. Okay, and at this time, Esau Edom, okay, is doing the bidding of Satan. Okay, the physical counterpart of the spiritual demon Satan here on the earth. Okay, but let's look at that word Lucifer. Okay.
Strong's H 1966. Haleo. Haleo.
Haleo. Okay. Let me say Haleo. In the sense of brightness, the morning star, Lucifer, the light-bearing, shining one, morning star, Lucifer, of the king of Babylon, and Satan, Haleo, describing the king of Babylon. So they get more clear right there. Okay, that this is actually a man. Okay, and that's Esau Edom at this time. Okay, because the word, once again, Lucifer means light bearer. Okay, the holders of the light, and that's where you also get the term Illuminati or illuminated. Okay, meaning the light bearers. And right at this time, Esau Edom is calling himself the Illuminati. Okay, but they doing it in wickedness. Okay, they don't have the true light. Okay, which we know the true light represent when it comes to true light bearers or the true illuminated ones, or the nation of Israel, starting with the elect that had the truth through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Okay, but the Lord gave Esau Edom the power on the left hand side through wickedness. Okay, as they saying that they are the light bearers, as they trying to form the NWO. Okay, now you hear more talks of AI, the technology that they have, more talks of the Planeteer, okay, smart cities, okay, the deep fake, okay, that's part of Esau Edom and his lies. That's all part of Esau Edom light bearing on the left hand side, man, of wickedness. Okay, and Yahweh Shai come back to take them out of that type of power, to take that type of power away from them. Okay, so that's it on that. So that word Lucifer means light bearer. Okay, not actually Satan himself. Okay, but it's a form of a man that's in power at this time, and that's Esau Edom. Verse 12: How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which did weaken the nations? And that's when Yahweh Shai is going to come back and destroy them. Okay, bring them out of power. And it says, for thou hast said in thy heart, I will ascend into heaven. It is going to Esau Edom, space force, his military, outer space, his satellites out of space, his fighter jets, his helicopters, his skyscrapers, okay, his CERN, okay, his astrologies, stargazings, okay, his pride, okay. As we at the time now, they want to get rid of a higher power, the existence of the God of the Bible. Like I said, they technology, that's them puffing themselves up. Okay, but thou hast said in thy heart, I will ascend into heaven, and I will exalt my throne amongst the stars. Okay, and that's, this can be twofold, because the stars going into outer space, they space stations, okay, they satellites, okay, they space programs, they weaponry, okay, but it also can represent, the stars can also represent them being over us, okay, the Hebrew Israelites, mainly over here in America, okay, that's what Revelation 12, matter of fact, let me get this. I think it's Revelation 12. Here we go, Revelation 12 and 4, and it says, and his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven and did cast them to the earth. And at this time, the third part of the stars representing during the time of the persecution of the Roman Empire, okay, mainly during the time of 70 AD, when it came to Titus Vespasius, okay, that when it came to the diaspora, okay, or the three tribes of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, okay, which today Judah represent the so-called Negroes, Benjamin represent the so-called West Indians or Jamaicans, and Levi representing the so-called Haitians today. Okay, so that would make up the third part of the stars. Okay, because primarily you had three tribes that was left over there in Jerusalem during the time. Because we know the history of the Northern Kingdom. Okay, you can look up the Northern Kingdom, the exile of the Northern Kingdom under the Assyrian Empire. Okay, 2nd Esdras, the 13th chapter, go into that. Okay, how the 10 tribes, okay, went into the Assyrian Empire, and throughout the process of time, they left the Assyrian Empire and came over here to the Americas. Okay, the Apocrypha going into that when it comes to 2nd Esdras, the 13th chapter. Okay, but now all tribes are over here in America. Okay, because we know about the Atlantic slave trade. Okay, the time of the Atlantic slave trade. Okay, when it comes to 1619. Okay, with most of the the boat of slaves. Okay, on the slave ships. Okay, which that time the Southern Kingdom was pushed, like I said, from out of the Romans, in Roman persecution and the diaspora, where you had Israel scattered, mainly went into West Coast, or the West Coast of Africa. Okay, Judah, Benjamin, Levi. When it comes to the three stars, okay, parts of the three stars or the three tribes, okay, that Esau, Edom came against during that time. Okay, and then, like I said, you had the Atlantic slave trade. Okay, that brought the Negro tribes over here to the Americas to be sojourned in captivity with the rest of the tribes. Okay, because we know about the enslavement of the history of the Hispanic, Latino, Native American tribes. Okay, how America got its start through bloodshed, man. Okay, when it came to the 14th century. Okay, but now as a whole, to sum it all up, now all tribes are over here. Okay, here in the Americas. But I want to get this, the third part of the stars, backing up Isaiah chapter 14. Like I said, because the stars can also represent the tribes. Okay, Revelation chapter 12 verse 4. But this time going into Roman persecution. And his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven and did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman. Okay, and the dragon represented Esau, Edom Empire. Okay, and the woman represented Israel. Okay, us the Israelites. Okay, which was ready to be delivered, for devour her child as soon as it was born. Okay, and as going into the time of the Herodian Empire, or Herod, okay, that came after Yahushua as well, when he was born, and Joseph and Mary had to flee, okay, from the hands of Herod, army. He was seeking to kill, because during that time he he put out an order to kill the male child in Jerusalem that was 2 years and younger. Okay, so it's going into when they persecute the time of the come after Yahushua when he was born. Okay, and she brought forth a man child who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron, and her child was caught up to Yahweh and to his throne. So that represents Yahushua. Okay, and Yahushua is from the tribe of Judah. Okay, Hebrews chapter 7 verse 14. Okay, for his evidence that our Lord sprung out of Judah. Because like I say, primarily you had three tribes back then: Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. Okay, but I wanted to get that to back up Isaiah chapter 14. Isaiah chapter 14, verse 13, going back into the breakdown. For thou hast said in our heart, okay, going back into Esau, Edom, okay, and that's why, when it comes to these scriptures, you got to understand it through the Spirit and through the men that Yahweh Shemel Shah that set up the interpret these scriptures the right way, Okay, and the scripture says you got to go upon, precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little, there a little. Okay, when it comes to the scriptures. Okay, you got to go to bits of the scriptures, to get the whole puzzle completed. Okay, and only through the Spirit you can be able to do that. Okay, and that's why it's a blessing. Us that's in the faith that has been called, hopefully be chosen to understand His word, man. Okay, and all of it for edifying. Okay, not for self gain, not for trying to be deep. Okay, not putting a price on the word of the Lord, because you got a lot of Israelite camps out there doing it, selling breakdowns. Okay, a lot of these false Israelite camps, man. Okay, and it says, continue on, and it says, for thou hast said, verse 13, for thou hast said in thy heart, I will ascend into heaven, and I will exalt my throne upon above the stars of Yahweh. Okay, like I say, going to start with Esau, Edom, Space Force, his military, outer space, his weaponry's outer space, his satellites, his skyscrapers, his planes, jets, etc. His pride, but it also can represent them ruling over us, the Israelites, man. Okay, they pride over us. Okay, and it says, and I was set also upon the mount of the congregation. Yeah, the congregation represent Israel. Okay, as we in captivity up on the Esau, Edom. And the sides of the north, the north representing North America. Okay, over here in the Babylon the Great. Okay, mainly where our captivity is at. Okay, or primarily, and I will ascend above the heights of the clouds, and I will be like the Most High. And that's their pride through their technology. Okay, through the NWO, they want to establish themselves as the gods here on the earth, or get rid of the existence of the God of the Bible for a higher power. Okay, through the AI, the technology now. Okay, yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. I mean, they're gonna be taken out of power, man. Okay, they that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms? Okay, that's going to the aftermath of Esau Edom downfall, man. And they shackled up in chains. Then the nation's gonna look at him and see that he ain't up but a man, the basis of man. Okay, out of all nations that the Lord created, Esau Edom is the lowest, man. Okay, right now the Lord just got him on top. Okay, to prove his point of Yahweh Shem Yahushua power. Okay, that he gonna bring him down. Okay, and disappoint him, man. Okay, just like he did every other ancient empire that ruled over Israel. Okay, or ancient empires that exalt themselves above Yahweh Shem Yahushua. So Esau ain't no different. Okay, but the only thing is he's gonna have the greatest fall, man. Okay, and it says, and they that see thee shall look narrowly upon thee, and consider these, saying, is this the man that made the earth tremble, that did shake kingdoms? Okay, it is going to his wars. Okay, by the blessing of his sword, his military might. Okay, and mainly those missiles. Okay, which the Lord gave them the ability to create. Okay, because Esau Edom blessing is the sword. Okay, that was given unto him. And it said that made the world a wilderness and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the houses of his prisoners. Okay, Esau Edom oppression amongst the nations. Okay, especially this place America. So this place America known for their imprisonment. Okay, especially when it comes to you Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans. Okay, when it comes to incarceration. Okay, the jail system, the so-called criminal justice system. Okay, who fill up these prison houses the most? You Negro, Latino, Native Americans. Okay, and 2/3 of our people give them a reason why. Okay, yeah, but look at the condition that our people are in. Esau Edom help forward these curses on our people, man. Help further the affliction, as the scripture says. And it says, and all the kings of the nations, even all of them, lie in glory, everyone in his own house. Okay, but thou art cast out like a grave, like an abominable branch. Yeah, so because out of all the nations, Esau Edom gonna get it the worst, man. Okay, out of these heathen nations. Okay, and as the remnant of those that are slain, thrust through with the sword, that go down to the stones of the pit as a carcasses treaded under feet, going to how they're going to be taken out of power. Okay, Esau, Edom. Thou shalt not be joined with them in burial, because thou hast destroyed thy land and slain thy people. The seed of evildoers shall never be renowned. And that's going to Esau, Edom. Okay, especially when it comes to, because when the kingdom is established, Esau, Edom, going into captivity with the heathen nations, okay, it's going to be a 1,000-year period that the nation is going to build up our kingdom, okay, and the world that we're going to rule, okay. But the only difference is between after the 1,000-year period, the only nation that's going to be done away with are the biblical Edomites, okay, the whole nation, okay. Obadiah 1:18, and it says, prepare slaughter for his children for the iniquity of their fathers, okay. And these heathen nations, okay, they are their forefathers coming back, especially the Edomites, okay, to receive a judgment, okay. And that they do not rise nor possess the land, nor fill the faces of the world with cities, mainly Esau, Edom. Okay, like I say, Obadiah 1:18. For I will raise up against them, say the Lord, a host, and cut off from Babylon the name and the remnant and the son and nephew, say the Lord. Yeah, especially when it comes to this place, America. Okay, ain't no Edomites, all these heathen nations going to be saved. Okay, and that's going to indicate or lead to their downfall. Okay, losing their power. And once this place, America, destroyed, it's never going to be inhabited again by nations. Okay, it's going to become a desert once the fire and smoke clears. Okay, and one thing that's going to inhabit this place is desert-like creatures. Okay, and it says, and I will also make it a possession for the breeding and pools of water, and I will sweep it with the broom of destruction, say the Lord, Yahweh Bashmal Shah host. Yeah, that's no missiles. Okay, the broom of destruction. Okay, a broom, okay, or another way of saying a broom is like a cleansing agent. Okay, the sweep. Okay, that's how those missiles, okay, or the fire that gonna come from the missiles, once it hit ground zero, gonna sweep across America, the whole America, and destroy this place. And it says, the Lord of hosts has sworn, saying, surely as I have thought, so it said, the Lord already thought it. Okay, so, and you know, as we know, these scriptures are visions or prophecies. Okay, so it's in another realm, the spiritual realm, it already been set. Okay, we just here in the physical time now that it's about to play out, man. Okay, so ain't no point of return. Okay, the Lord of word ain't gonna go out void. It ain't gonna fail. Okay, and it says, surely have I thought, so shall it come to pass, and as I have purposed, so it shall stand, that I will break the Assyrians in my land. Okay, going to Esau, Edom, the modern day Assyrians. Okay, and upon my mountains tread him underfoot. Then shall his yoke depart from off them. Okay, was being delivered from this captivity, and his burden depart from off their shoulders. Okay, and the purpose is that purpose upon the whole earth. This is the hand that is stretched out upon all the nations. Okay, so Lord come back to bring down all these nations. Okay, the Lord hand represent Yahweh Shai, okay, and the nation of Israel, okay, because we're going to have a part into taking over these nations as well, okay, starting with the elect, okay, the hopeful elect. For the Lord the Lord of hosts have purpose, and who shall disnow you with, and his hand is stretched out, or who shall turn it back? In the year that King Hazar died was this burden, okay, rejoice not thou, O Palestinian, because of the rod of him that smote thee is broken. Yeah, because you got Palestinians over there too, in the land of Israel. Okay, which a lot of them, a good bit of them could be Israelites, but a lot of them are Arabs. Okay, that's over there now fighting between the small hats over the land. Okay, but neither one of them don't belong in that land. So when that land be destroyed, the Palestinians, okay, they're gonna be cleansed out of that land by the way of the missiles, right along with the small hats, and I keep it like that. And they're going to go into captivity when it comes to them Arabs. Because the rod of him that smote thee is broken, for out of the serpent root shall come forth a cockatree, and his fruit shall be as a fiery flying serpent. And that's those missiles, courtesy to Russia. That's going to lead to the destruction of America and the land of Israel. Okay, in this case, this verse going to the land of Israel. Okay, I interpret it. And that the firstborn of the poor shall feed, and the needy shall lie down in safety. And that's going into the elect. Okay, ultimately the elect is going to be delivered. And it says, now the elect of Israel, and I will kill thy root with famine, and he shall slay thy raiment. So they're going, the heathen nations going into captivity. How, O gate, cry, O city, thou whole Palestinian, art dissolved, for there shall come from the north a smoke, and none shall be alone in his appointed time. Like I said, because America going to be destroyed by missiles and the land of Israel, okay? But the difference between the two, America never going to be inhabited again, and the land of Israel going to be built back up by the rightful true inheritors, okay? Or being ruled, the heathen nations going to build our land up, okay? Because we ain't going to do no work, okay? Unless, Lord allowed us, but really going to be our servants that we're going to put the labor and hard labor, okay? And it says, what shall one then answer the messages of the nation, that the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua hath found Zion, and the poor of his people shall trust in him? And so they're going to Israel, ultimately all Israel, but start with the elect. So I just say I want to, get this, going to this chapter, Isaiah chapter 14, and I'll, go ahead and end the lesson here. And I'll pray that the lesson will edify. And until the next time, Lord willing, I'm going to give all praise to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, B'Shem Rakah HaKodash, double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone, and peace and salutation also to the fellow laborers that's in the ministry, and the believers that scattered worldwide in all truth and sincerity, day in and day out. Until next time, Lord willing, shalom, okay, to your brothers and sisters out there of the household of faith. Shalom to the hopeful elect. Shalom.